Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Kai Schulin project, where, as you can see, I'm finally wearing a long sleeve shirt because summer weather has finally gone bye-bye. It is done. We are changing seasons. And last time, if you stayed through the entire way and got through the past kind of technical difficulty kind of things, you can see we did ultimately get this hardened. And it is removable. This feels like I can crush it like I could a chip, so it's still it is solid. It is definitely solid, but it's also a little on the fragile side. But that does come on and off. It does kind of click into place, which is nice. Head pops back on, so that's all good. You're going to be seeing the front of it the entire. You can look at the back right now because you're not going to see the back any other time. But in this segment, our goal is to be kind of finish off the rest of the detailing on the camo stuff here. If you look, I keep forgetting when the camera's pointing this way, it means the opposite. If you look on the shoulder, up top here, on her, she has the, I don't know if it's just a guard or whatever it is. I guess it's a guard, an extra guard. We're going to be doing that on the shoulder here. And you might be adding a couple more kinds of, maybe adding a couple of folds and whatnot in here. See if it looks good. If it looks good, it can stay. If it doesn't, I can always pull it right back off and we can work with that at that point. But let's get things kind of set up and turned around and ready to go. Also, as a back of house thing, just throw it out, I was hoping once the Ultra that I had done pretty much 3 weeks ago now was over, I was going to wind up with a lot more time. We could do a lot more activities per week here. But with the wedding literally going on right now as this thing is going live, I'm not going to get an extra segment in tomorrow. So we're still on normal schedule for right now. I'm thinking next week I'll try and get a Sunday session in. So we'll have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. But because I'm going to have a lot more free time next week. The game is done. That's done. The wedding is over. So I have no other plans coming up. So I can finally get ahead. But no, we are still where we are on time-wise in terms of just working on the schedule that we have. That said, one of my goals this time is to hopefully, hey, if I can tighten this camera a little bit, that'd be great. It's kind of loose. I'm trying to keep things more on camera this time. Might be helpful. And yeah, like I said, we're going to do the shoulder thing. And I can see, when I look at this, they have kind of a lot more kind of folds and whatnot in this front area. I can do little kind of subtle ones. You can't do big folds on these because the fabric is too thick. But you can always make smaller individual folds separately and put them on. So that's kind of the game plan on that. Oh, and I see with all this kind of moving things around, this thing is finally mobile. I kind of figured all these would be a little more movable over time, but they've actually been a lot more structure in there than I thought. They're kind of made to be kind of fold up and down, but it just hasn't really happened that way. All right, so we're going to start with the one thing we always seem to love to start with, and that is our friend the pasta roller. And we are not going to be stuck at number 3. We're going back up to number 7. On a scale of 1 to 7, we go to 7, which I believe that means millimeters on this. But all right, so we're going to run this through a couple times. And I haven't really done I haven't done that much pre-looking at this thing yet, so there's going to be a lot of kind of figuring this out, I think, on camera here as we go. So let's see, what do we need? I need a knife. Knife is always good. You're not a bad place to start. So just get some of this stuff out of the way. Get some of this junk out of the way. We don't need all of that. Okay, and what I should be looking at is I do have a zoomed in version on my computer I'm looking at right up here that I can kind of go off of. So I haven't done my usually I kind of pre-measure this beforehand, and I'm really, really bad right now and haven't done that. So looking at it, looks like it starts out kind of up here and goes Hold up. Do I have... Where's the actual image? Where's the actual image? 1 second. I should have done this. I should have done the pre-measurements from the start. Okay, so it goes pretty much to, it looks like the elbow-ish. So we're kind of going from about there to there, which if I were to put a number on this and turn this thing around so the engineering scale is the right way, we're looking at about 2¼ inches for the whole thing. Okay, that's good. Give me a chance to get back to the image I had because I just messed everything up for myself. A little bigger so I can see this easier. There is a reason I wear glasses. It's not just because they look good. They do serve a pretty decent function. Okay, so we have that. If we come back here and we take this and we slide it over a little bit, you see they also have a nice little neat... They do have kind of the up-close image on that, even though that one looks a lot flatter than the finished one is. So there's going to be a little bit, I think there's going to be a little bit of play between what the concept art is showing, whoop, where's the end, and what the actual winds up being. So I don't think the two are actually 100% in line with each other. So what it essentially is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces kind of all placed together, kind of overlapping themselves. So this is probably going to be about what I need because I'm going to need to actually do this a number of times over. And if I take you, oh, this is not turning out. This is why I do pre-planning. This is why I usually try to do at least some pre-planning beforehand. So I can avoid having to do this on camera. Actually, what I could do is, all right, so I'm coming here and I have, this is not life size, but if I have that, that is close enough to life size. We're just going to shrink this down and do a life size measurement. It'll save me having to do actual numbers later on. It saved me from having to actually do math in my head. So, okay, so I am life size on the screen. So we're going to see how wide do we need to go. Like I said, on the final image, this is a lot more pronounced than it is on the concept art here. So, what's kind of our overall width? So that's kind of our overall width. All right, we're going to come right back into this and not have to stare at my computer screen any longer. So overall is about 1 1/8 inch and a strong eighth. I'm going to say 1 strong eighth. All right, let's slide you back over. Okay. So we have 2¼ inches strong eighth. So yeah, it's about, we could say that's like a 2-to-1 ratio. And actually, the 1 1/8 we can actually use. So I can stick you down here. I can stick you over there. The length I can't reuse, but the width here is going to be perfect to have kind of actually cut nicely. Because again, the piece, I'm going to make each individual piece, and then they're going to overlap each other. So the length I can't do, but the width I can. All right, so there's one, there's the other. All right, so how does, if we come back to you, how does the width on this feel? It does wrap around. It's not super, it almost feels like it wants to be a little bit. I kind of want to be actually a little bit bigger than that, I think. I think it's feeling, well, that is a pretty good size. Never mind. It kind of carves in a little bit. It's going to feel, I think we're going to be Okay. This little ridge is a little bigger than I want, so it's actually going to be probably hanging up off of that just a little. I'm going to need to, we'll deal with that when we get to it. Things are on here that probably shouldn't be 100% the way they're supposed to be on here. That doesn't surprise me. Just going to send you through here just one time that way in case it wants to do something. Okay, so what we want is we want to move my image over real quick so I can get the plan image to go off of. I didn't move it far enough over. Okay, we in business. So what do we have to start with? To start with, let's see, let's get myself a midpoint on here. Let's get myself a midpoint on here. Get my own shadow out of the way. Ah, if I could see this little mark I made, that would be even better. Can I even see this thing? Oh, yes, I'm looking too far up. I'm looking way too far up. I thought it was near the edge. It's not. So that was one. Oh, and where's the other? Here's the other. Okay, so just scoring a line down the middle. So at least now we can see if we need to do symmetry, we can do symmetry. And I might as well give you what I'm kind of looking at. Okay, so I'm going to make each piece separate, and then we're going to go and put it all together. So the first one is a little bit involved. We're going to start kind of from the bottom here and then go up. So this first part is actually kind of involved. Those three little spike things are going to be added on at the end of this. So we're going to come around and maybe be more symmetrical than that. That looks better. Good thing is, once we make one of these, I can make the next three, no issue. Or the next two of them after that with no issue. It's just, yeah, we're going to be a little bit of stuff to work on here now. I forgot, I do have this, and I do have my own thing set to the actual correct size, so I can use that to get this right. Alright, so from bottom to here is that. And this effectively, let me not use you to start with. So we're something like that, and that's gonna be perfect. Okay, so we have that. That's at least a blank for the bottom part. And what do we have between the 2 points on the bottom? Something like you are between both points. So this is a mix between eyeballing and kind of measuring stuff. We have that, and then from there you come across, and trying to do this all the wrong way. That comes across. Okay, so that gets that. And then we just have a little bit of kind of from here in. This is where doing things it feels so backwards coming and doing it this direction. Okay, so we have that. That gives me now the general kind of blank I can then just kind of copy onto here, and we can just kind of trace. So I have that. I feel like the camera is in my way this time. I don't know why sometimes the camera is nothing and sometimes it's just 100% not helping things. It's like, why do you need to be here? It's not. I know why you have to be there. Otherwise you can't see anything. But at the same time, sometimes I don't need it. No offense to you guys watching, but camera does not make things any easier. Come on. Do the thing. Do the thing. Alright, and now they stuck together a little bit, which is okay. Let's see. I think you were probably the first one. Oh, man. What was the first? You were the first one. Alright, number one rule of pattern making. Like if you're doing a building project, like want to build stairs or something, you have stringers. You do one stringer, and you have to like repeat it over like 4 or 5 times over, depending how wide the stair is. Or if you need to do rafters, and you just need to kind of get everything to size, you cut one rafter to size, and just kind of trace and cut all the other ones. Number one rule of doing that: whatever piece you do first, that is your pattern piece. Every other piece will be traced off of that one. You do not go down the line, make one, then use the next one to trace the next one to trace the next one. If you do that, you might get slight differences in between things. And ultimately, what the problem that goes on is you're off by, say, a 1/16 of an inch on one rafter, like say from one rafter to the next. By the time you go through, like say, 20 rafters for, let's say you're going like the length of however big your room is going to be, 1/16 of an inch times 20 rafters means by the time you get to the end, you're going to be over an inch off, which if you're trying to hang sheetrock or something on the ceiling underneath it, it doesn't work. Sheetrock comes in 8 feet lengths. They have to land exactly on a stud, which means you have stud is 1.5 inches wide. So if you want to be on the middle of the stud, you have 3/4 inch tolerance to make that work. So if you are a 1/16 off on every rafter from one to the end, from one side to the other side, your final piece of sheetrock will not land on a stud. So always use the same pattern piece for everything. It just, you need that kind of thing going on, at least for spacing wise. So that's my pattern, you're my new guy, and I just need those because again, this is going to go on top of this, is going to go on top of this. Something-ish like that. Except the first one gets detailed out a little bit more, which actually I should do that with them being in place would make more sense. And realistically, I don't need the bottom of this. So I'm just going to cut a bit of that off. I don't need that. That only applies to this end one because it has that little extra kind of detail-y thing going on. That's a technical term. Okay, so I have you to you. And you go kind of something like that. That goes something like that. What's my overall length I'm looking for on this? Is something like that. So we're pretty close. I want to be just smaller than this. I can go a little bit bigger, not much. I can go a little bigger. They each get a little bit of space of their own. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that is that. Okay, next. Next. Now we get 3 pieces that kind of go the other direction. So from here, where are you? You are here. So let's see, so that's actually about that big for the next part. And if I'm doing this, we come down kind of looks something like that. Actually, I don't want the, I should have just cut that round part off. We're gonna need to make some more of this. That's fine. All right, so if I'm, yeah, we're definitely gonna need to make some more of this because I kind of want to start at a flat edge like this. And now from here, let's try this again. So we're pretty much the full size of this. And it comes, we have a couple of different dimensions. We have you doing that at the bottom. Now I'm doing a piece that comes in this direction next. So we're going to be facing where the triangle comes down that way. So that goes in. This comes out to about, let's see, we're doing something like that. That comes in. This comes in. And this comes down. Kind of looks like something like that. So that goes there. That's going to wind up under this. And that's then effectively the next step on this. And overall, when it goes on here, it's going to do something like that. All right, you can stare at that real quick. I'm going to go and get myself another roll on this. Actually, that's not looking bad. It's actually, it's adding much needed detail up there, so I'll take it. Too many things on my screen. Oh my goodness, we are 24 minutes in. I've done not as much as I hoped in 24 minutes. And actually, I kind of made the first piece first. This was the middle one. There's supposed to be a triangle that goes first. Supposed to be a triangle that goes first. So that's, which frankly, I can just take this, trace it, because the angle is pretty much the same. All right, that came down. That's not really gonna matter. anything down here is not going to matter. It's not that long a piece. All I needed was the angle on that to come this way. And we start kind of from there. So I don't want any of this stuff out here. So if that's all I needed on that, that doesn't feel like it's going up nearly far enough. So let's have you angle down just a little bit more. And let's take away a lot of this, because realistically we just need you to go to there, and that's it. Okay, now that feels a little better, because then from there this guy is going to go up further and come around the whole thing, and that's going to be that one. So from here, I don't really have a piece I need to trace from it, but I can kind of put you up top. Where are we going from? So we're kind of going, yeah, from there. We're coming out and around. Hold up. Am I... don't feel like I'm centered at all here. Okay, so that's coming up and around, that's coming up and around. We want to be... this one is the semicircle kind of deal, so you kind of come up and around like that. Okay, I'm kind of talking, but I'm kind of talking quietly, so that means I'm kind of in thinking mode as I'm doing this. That's just a sign. That's just a sign of me being in thinking mode. I want to make sure I get this right. And then from here, you kind of come up. It looks like this. We can just take you across. This, we can take you across. Right, it's still connected down underneath here, and I don't need this part connected underneath here. Too far. Little bit's fine, not too far. That might be just a hair skinny, but that's okay, because we can move that up a little bit. Okay, so what do we have from here? So now, I'm getting stuff stuck to me. I don't want stuff stuck to me. Okay, so now from here we kind of come in, in, and I wanted that semicircle to go just a little bit more. And there we go. Let's see, how are we on our kind of overall length? So we said it wanted to be ultimately around 2 1/4, give or take. There's a little bit of playroom in here, and dang, we did it. Okay, so we have our armor piece more or less in here. You get it in the right light, you can definitely see it. And then this gets kind of curved in half a little bit. Oh, let's see how this goes. Does this do what we want it to do? Let's get this version back up here. We want that. All right, Kai. How'd we do? That's not so bad. Let me get my... no, don't do that. I want my closer version for myself. Yeah, it's not bad. I think I'm okay with that. Alright, so what happens in the end, or literally in the end of this, is the end here kind of curls up. Whoop, end here kind of curls up a little bit. Let's get these little kind of points going out. So that kind of stays up on the side, which then makes it kind of coming down there make a little more sense. I can even kind of fold, really I can fold that down, and that kind of makes visual sense in here. And good thing is I can even harden this thing separate, and I can even either glue it on, or I can make a little pin to kind of stick in here. But overall, I think it's also just kind of, it could just sit here. And just sitting here could also work. But okay, so if we have that, I did not expect this thing to take as long as it is at all. Okay, where is my smoother? We have these lines we don't need anymore, so let's get rid of them. My big eraser, we like this eraser. It does wonders. How about if I go this direction? Yeah, look at that. It mostly did it. Okay, so next, which now at this point things might just be easier doing it in place. You know what? No, this is 100% not easier in place. Before I start doing any of this crazy stuff, don't do that part in place. We have this. Yes, we're in blurry mode. I don't think this camera's been in blurry mode for a while. So, we made it. We're back. Heck yeah. All I'm doing is just trimming just a little bit of stuff right off here, just so that bottom part sticks out just a little bit. Ow. As I poke myself with the knife. Which you didn't see because it was off camera, but I definitely just did. Nope, still blurry. Still blurry, hasn't changed. Woo. Depth of field, come on. Do your thing. You can figure it out. Your technology. We live in the future. We are living in the future. This stuff should be able to figure itself out by now. Otherwise, what was the whole point of getting ourselves to this point in time? Nope, still not. We're still blurry. Every time I look over, like my heart sinks just a little bit. Like, oh. It's funny at the start, but then it just doesn't stop. It's like, okay. That's a nice little joke. It's a good bit. We're done. Can we get clear? Can we get clear yet? That'd be great. Alrighty. Otherwise, I'm laughing at myself because I forget which specific session it was. I was talking about the Valkyria Chronicles 4. At least it's a fun game, but it just lasted too long. Like games don't need to be that long and whatnot, and they're okay to be shorter. And I'm laughing at myself because I just started another one of those Giga games, or kind of Giga games again on the side. I've just to kind of fill that void of like right before kind of going to bed kind of thing. It's nice to have. I like doing at least something, just kind of turn the brain off kind of deal. And I found another good faff about game. I've started up Final Fantasy 12. We're going through it again. That's another one of those like 100-hour kind of games if you want to do everything. But it's a fun little kind of, I call them faff about games, where you kind of you have your main plot line and all that, and that's always fun. But basically, you play these Giga ones just for faff about. It's like the sandbox type games. It's like Yakuza is kind of like a sandbox type game where you have. There's so many of them, like the Saints Rows or Grand Theft Autos and stuff like that. Although I haven't played either of those, but it's just one of those. Or Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush is like the ultimate faff about game, where you just go turn your brain off and just kind of do. And so I'm heading through FF12 again. And I gotta say, I love that one. Just starting off in like starting the game, getting the city of Ravenaster, and just hearing the music playing. It's like it just kind of takes you back home. Like I love this. It just feels so good to be back. It's like the comfy place. It's like the last movie I ever saw in theaters was. You're gonna laugh. Last movie I ever saw in theaters was Jurassic Park 20th Anniversary, which came out in 2013. And yeah, I don't go to the movies like ever. And even when I went there, I love the movie, but it's just you hear the theme the first time they get to the island. They're just driving through the island from the helipad to the visitor center, and the music starts playing. It's like that's all I needed. That alone made everything worthwhile of just watching it in theaters. It's like there's a certain magic to that one, and just hearing the Rabanasta theme playing, going through the first city is just like it just takes you back home. It's like we're there, we're good. But I've been going through a lot of Final Fantasy ones recently. Over the summer, while I've been doing all this other stuff, I actually went through Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2, respectively. I have the Origins version, which is the PlayStation 1 versions of the games. I don't have Pixel Remaster. I don't have the original ones, but I have the PS3 or the PS1 made a version of them. So I went through them, and those are games that exist. They're very 80s in design, where you can tell they had no reference material whatsoever to go off of when they made them. And they are definitely special things. Last year I went through Final Fantasy X, and that was like a 100-hour experience because on that one I decided I was going to go and basically do everything. One of my goals on that was I was going to learn Blitzball the first time. I never knew how it worked before, and I was like, I'm going to learn this side game. And so I went and I actually spent time on the Blitzball part learning it, and then ultimately realizing it's a worthless side game in the end anyway. But I learned it because the game teaches you nothing about its own mechanics, which is fantastic. But then I also went and I have the original version of that. I don't have any of like the subsequent remakes, or I forget what the international version, I guess, is the next version, or I forget what it is, the Open Sphere Grid or whatever it is. Don't have that version. I just have the original one. So the game for that ended at Penance, which is like the ultimate super boss thing in there. And I'd never really given the Monster Arena a chance before, so I was like, all right, I'm going to give that a chance. So that wound up being maybe 20 hours worth of actual gameplay, then it was like another 80 hours of just faffing about in free time, just doing stuff, because I felt like it. And I have a feeling FF12 is going to be kind of the same thing. I want to go through the monster hunts again, like that. I've never completed the monster hunts because Yaizamat, I think is the name of the final one, has this 50 million HP, so it's a gigantic time waster. And I realized that real quick because it was going to take like 6 hours or something to beat the guy. And I said no, and I'm probably going to wind up in the same boat again. But I want to get that. I want to get all the espers. I want to kind of go through and basically just experience the game again. It's been so long since I played that one. I just kind of want to experience that one again. And who knows, maybe it'll spark my interest and I can start the straw project over again. Which I haven't mentioned that one on camera on this project. On the Bang one, it got brought up once or twice. But I'd started a woodworking project about 2 years ago of carving out the main airship of the game, the straw. And I haven't touched that now in, yeah, close to 2 years. And it's one of those that's always kind of on my mind. Maybe I could always come back and do it. Who knows? And who knows? Maybe this playthrough will spark that interest again. To whether that's an on-camera or off-camera thing, I wouldn't know because that's. I feel like carving stuff, especially if I'm using the Dremel and whatnot, is not as cool on camera as. So this is just because it's a very audible situation, and I'm not sure it works as well on camera, but it's definitely in the realm of something I can think about. I can always think maybe a once a week thing, like a straw Sunday or something like that, or just kind of force myself to make little progress here or there. Not getting the sizing of these things right because they are so small. Again, we're dealing with stuff that's like that big. You can almost see it, but you can't because my camera is blurry when my hand is up there. But there are a whole bunch of these things that kind of go on here. That, and I kind of finished my previous kind of nightly, turned my brain off to go to bed. I picked up another anime. I can't really watch an anime thing in a while, so I decided I'd try one of those, and I think I found one of the most what the heck am I watching ones I've seen in a long time, which was the Dan to Dan, which I guess came out earlier in the year. And it's a very kind of cooly-fooly kind of feel to it, except it lasts longer, so it kind of starts getting an actual plot and it's not just stuff happens. However, at the same time, I think it's at its best when just random stuff happens and you have no idea what's going on. It's just turn your brain off and just go with the flow kind of thing. It's a dumb show, but it's entertaining, and that kind of makes it fun that way, just because. So, went through that, and it's like, yes, now I'm kind of at a point where I have a time slot I would like to fill for myself, and yeah, I think FF12 is gonna hit. It's gotta hit that spot. Right now, it's hitting the spot just because it's like all the feels. Like I just going to Ravenastia, just hearing that music, just that alone just hit the spot. And that should be fun. That, and I guess because the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster just come out too, and so everyone's been kind of playing that, and FF12 takes place in the same world as that one, so maybe that also kind of spurred the interest. Actually, I can almost guarantee that was part of what kind of spurs it, but it'll be worth it in the end. It's not one of those I would want to actually stream or kind of put on or kind of record, I guess would be the word. If only because I think it's one of those that's fun to do. I'm not sure that kind of interest comes out as well, or that kind of play style comes out as well on camera. But I don't know. Just a good one for me to kind of go into right now. And like I said, turn the brain off for a little bit and just go. And see if things are how I remember them being. See if things are the opposite of how I remember them being, which is also sometimes interesting when the expectation when things don't quite meet the expectation. Final Fantasy X was great. That game was awesome. That one is so good. It's so well balanced, except for Magic. Magic is terrible in that game. Magic is godly in like the first third of the game, and then somewhere along the lines, it's like the only one I know of where Magic just gets left in the dust and is not useful as a mechanic at all throughout the entirety of the game, and especially in the post game. It is almost worthless. Sorry, Lulu, your character is bad. After the first third, you are amazing like the first third of the game, but you are terrible as it goes on. So we're going to see what mechanics hold up in this one, what mechanics don't hold up in this one. It's going to be a trip. It's going to be a fun trip. That's not where you go. Move. Move, 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 move. No. Darn this thing. It doesn't want to go where I want it to go, and then I drop it and lose the whole thing. Yep, it's gone. Okay. Let's try that again, hopefully with less fail. Okay, that's on. That's on. And we in there. Okay. We got that. Next we have these little kind of Bowser spikes that stick out. Can't forget the little Bowser spikes, whatever we do. And it almost looks like they come down from underneath. Okay. See, I think the reason why some games work as like the super long ones and ones like Valkyria Chronicles, in my mind, don't, is anything that requires like a lot of concentration, kind of brain power and all that. Eventually you get tired of these kind of sandbox ones where you can just kind of do stuff, just hang out, you kind of gain new levels, you can go from thing to thing, whatever. These longer kind of, turn your brain off ones. I'm going to call them that. You turn your brain off ones. I think that's the entire point. You really don't need to put all the effort into it so you don't get like physically tired of doing this stuff. You're not necessarily looking for progress. You're just kind of, doing what you're doing, and that's it. And I think there's more relaxed. I think there's more relaxing in the end, is what it ultimately comes down to. There's no pressure to kind of do stuff. It's just you can make slow progress, whereas in the other one you can't do slow progress because each chapter is as long as it is, so you're kind of stuck on that kind of length to go off of, and there's no getting around it. It just is. Whereas when you do these other ones, you can kind of slow grind them. You can do what you want. You can do little bite-sized pieces. If you want to play for like 15 minutes, that's awesome. If you want to play for like an hour and a half, 3 hours, whatever, that's awesome. You can do it. So you can kind of do things more at your pace. You get small little rewards as you go. You don't have to keep going for giant chunks of stuff. And it's a lot more user-friendly that way. But, well, as we were saying that, there we go on this. She has her armor up top. And it still feels kind of weird that it stops a little bit short of the end. But that is kind of what it's showing on there, is that it stops just a little bit short. If that comes down, nice part is it hides the high gap that those things were having, or the kind of seam up in there, so I think that helps it quite a bit. But there we go. We added some pizzazz on that, and we're at a time that I'm probably going to be ending this. So what I may do off camera is kind of like how I did the folds in the fabric and like in the pants and whatnot down here and kind of all around. I might do a little bit on here as well, because it looks like it wants to have a couple little folds that kind of come off the button area, that kind of come down. And I may just do these things off camera, see if it works, get that to kind of go in there, finish hardening these things out, and then next time we either have detail stuff we can do kind of the ammo stuff down there, or it would be really nice to finally give her actual hair, so we get back to looking like a little more of a female character again. Make it look like the Kai we want. We're building up the Kai we want. We can always do the detail stuff at the end, because we have hat and hair are the two main ones, the two ammo things, and the rifle that goes up. And I mean, we're in there. So this didn't quite go how I planned on it today, but I think it looks pretty okay. I kind of like how this came out. It adds a little more something to this. It feels like this big flat area up here that needs something, but again, that's when that gets painted, this will all look good. But no, that's where we're gonna end this, and then next time there might be, like I said, a little more detail up here, just adding a couple extra folds here or there, but that's where we're gonna be. And yeah, it's probably going to be doing the hat and hair for the next session, and then yeah, I'm guessing maybe 2 sessions for that to kind of finish those out, and then in all intents, she's done. All the rest is just details, and that's awesome. Good place to be. So until then, and again, I was hoping to have another one going out tomorrow. It's just because this wedding, it's not going to happen. I just don't have the free time because I'm going to be gone. But yeah, hopefully next week then we'll start increasing the pace on these. We'll get from there until the end of the project, which will probably be around Halloween-ish, I'm guessing. It's probably, I said, 2 hours, save kind of for that. Figure 2 or 3 for this. Let's just say 5 hours for that. Rifle's probably 6-7 hours worth of building stuff. And then it's probably like another 10-11 hours for painting. So that's, what, 18? So if we have 4 things per week, we're looking, yeah, going into early November by the time this is done. So, yeah, okay, early November, this should be finished. And then we can move on, start doing another project. But, yeah, until then, this is what we have. Let's give you a slightly edgier look this time as we do I need to have a thumbnail image pose. All right, till next time, enjoy.